All right, well, welcome back to the Dust Storm. This is session 3, episode 3 of the Dust Storm, brought to you by Ethos Studios. My name is Ben Malini, and I go by Arbor here as well. And we have, as before, joining us, Ranch and Kira, who are going to be continuing on this precipitous story and the world that we've been building together for the last, 10 years or so. So, when last we left our heroes, they were bedding down at an apparently abandoned inn called the Starlight, and you had arrived fleeing a pretty violent dust storm, and with a I don't know what you'd call him, a new acquaintance in tow, a dwarf that you had met on the road, helped bail out of a dangerous situation fighting creatures of the Archon, and then brought him with you to this wayside inn, which before the cataclysm that more or less ended the world must have been a fairly nice and well-appointed place. You had gotten inside, introduced yourself around to the other two travelers, which travelers are rare enough in these times, but they are Vuzaz and Engrog, who explain that they are couriers, basically. They are functionally messengers between cities in a time when that's extraordinarily uncommon, and for the cities that still exist, there is a pretty strong need for information. When you guys walked in, you were pretty certain that there was a woman behind the counter who had bid you welcome. And there was a little bit of chaos with you guys kind of tumbling in, from the storm outside. And when you looked around, again, you didn't see her, but more notably, both Vuzaz and Engrog seemed not to know what you were talking about as far as the, hostess. And after just a quick exchange, everyone more or less agreed that surely a place like this, abandoned by the side of the road in dark times and with dark energy swirling all around the world, just granted it was almost certainly haunted. Right? And so everyone just went out of their way to be respectful of the place, and you had a couple of beers from a cask that you found behind the counter, but toasted the place and anyone who was still there, and just all in general tried to be as respectful as possible. You guys went in, surveyed the rooms, found them to be, reasonably well appointed. Certainly beats the hell out of just sleeping out there in the dusty wasteland as you've been doing the last several weeks. And once you had found some rooms, both the two of you, as well as Belneil, the dwarf that you had met on the road, he came to you, and you guys gathered briefly in Shamar's room, and he explained that he knew somehow that he desperately needed to get to the city of Hytos, which is just a couple of days down the road that you guys were going on before. You did point out you already headed that way and agreed to travel with him. He said that he has a message, but he doesn't know what it is, and he has a sense that he is not supposed to know what it is, as he is evidently under some layers, presumably, of mental shielding. He also dropped, notably, that he is being pursued by literally hundreds of those weird, sort of crab-like, skull-headed monstrosities. So there's no small amount of risk in going with them. But then again, if they're in the area, there's no small amount of risk in this area, and to go in the opposite direction that they are seems prudent as well. So you guys had just separated for the night, decided to get some rest with the hope that after you rest, the storm would have cleared and you could be booking it on your way to Hytos. I think also you had stipulated that while you are all sleeping in your own separate rooms, there would be a signal of 2 sharp knocks, followed by a gap, and then 2 more sharp knocks as the indication that it was one of you, if any of the 3 of you needed to wake the others. Okay. So, anything else you guys want to add or point out, or bring to mind before we get into it?
Good. No, I think that covers it.
All right. So, it's dark. It's quiet-ish, quiet inside the building. The lights are all out. You guys hear, all of you are a little bit keyed up. The sounds of the storm are passive and ever present outside as it howls and rages. But this is a sturdy old building that's been here since who knows when, and doesn't rattle around or shake despite the kind of apocalyptic winds outside, and seems solid and enduring. So everyone, I think, would stir a little bit, and you might not have gone all the way to sleep. By the time you hear, presumably, Vuzaz and Engrog going to their rooms, which are down the hall and around the corner. But, you just note them going in there and just kind of the unintelligible murmur of voices and the sound of, doors closing and footsteps over that direction. But before too long, you're just sleeping in an empty inn in the middle of a wasteland some years after the end of the world. So, you do anything in particular? Just trying to get as much rest as possible.
I think that I would like to set up my bedroll on the floor and try to kind of sleep with my ear on the floor so that I can hear footsteps.
Okay.
Like leaning on one of my tusks and then my big ol' ear just and then my arm.
Okay.
If there are covers to get under, I'm getting like in the bed,
Yeah, there's a proper
I-
bed there. It's a straw
I-
mattress. It's nothing swanky, but yeah, compared to just sleeping on a dirt road out in the
Yeah.
middle of nowhere. Yeah, it's the
Yeah, I'm
Hilton.
gonna take advantage of it if I can.
Sure. Okay. Let's see. One pause in Foundry.
I at least
Thanks for
haven't-
thanks for keeping watch. Appreciate it.
Yeah, kind of.
Right.
It's part of me.
All right. So, Orden and Shamara do their best to sleep. Shamara, you should make a fortitude save, I'll say. I don't know. It's probably closest will come. And then, of course, both of you, just for any, passive perception during the night, should go ahead and make perception checks.
Fortitude. 2.
Okay.
The second thing you said was perception?
Yes.
Oh.
Very good. Okay. So it's pretty hard to sleep. I mean, for Orden, no, you're out, man. Great, you're in a bed, straw mattress, blankets. It's fantastic. Country mile better than where you've been sleeping for, like I said, weeks and potentially longer than that, and the just continual upended chaos of the world. Shamara, I mean, you're no stranger to sleeping on the ground, but just trying to find a way to get comfortable on the wood is a little tricky. And then the kind of passive assault of the storm, just blowing dust against the building itself, makes the floor very faintly vibrate. And so you just have a hard time getting to sleep. It's just too uncomfortable. You doze every once in a while. If you've ever been camping and just had a particularly uncomfortable sleeping spot where, like, you kind of fall asleep, you just keep waking up, and you realize, like, maybe an hour has passed and it feels like all night. And it's just kind of miserable for a little while. But are you going to...
I'll give up and
Okay.
get in the bed.
All right. Fair enough. Okay. Well, the bed's very comfortable, particularly by contrast. So go ahead and make another perception check, Shamara. Okay. And let's see what happens. So, some time passes. It's difficult to say how much. You are both sleeping very comfortably and very soundly. The fatigue is leaking out of you. You are being restored by the comfortable, comparatively warm, and comparatively extremely soft and comfortable sleeping arrangements until Warden. I'm gonna send you a message here.
I think that if I hadn't been hurt, I would have had the will to stay listening, but
Okay.
needed to heal up, dude.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get up, and then I kind of want to. So I'll open up my door. I'll leave the candle, or I'll light the candle, but put it in the corner, so it's not like direct, like you can't see it from the door. And then I guess I want to listen for. Like, I'll step outside, close the door with a crack, and then can I kind of listen for what type of struggle? Like, does it feel like people are fooling around? You know,
Sure.
Does it sound like, oh shit, there is an actual like struggle?
So you step outside. You should be able to move your character if you open the door.
Oh yes.
And do you? You're a human, right? You don't have any dark vision or
Don't have any dark
weird
vision.
metaphysical talents. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll close the door real quick, and then that's when I want to kind of listen.
Okay. Make another perception check. Okay. There is just a tiny bit of light, coming from the door, cracked as you left it, and it's not really enough to see even to the end of the hallway to your right as you come out the door. There's other rooms down there and stuff. The door to the latrine is kind of in front of you and to your left as you come out, but you notice that it's open, and
Of course, I couldn't get a good night's sleep.
Hey, you're not even hurt, are you?
I'm not-
okay.
They're in. So if I'm looking at the map, they're down to the left in the
Here.
bathroom, right there.
They're going this way. Okay. What do you do?
I'm gonna go over to Belneil's room.
Okay.
Tap tap. Tap tap. Go back into my room as fast as I can. Grab my candle.
Okay.
And then so that door will stay open. And then as I do that, grab it. I'm gonna grab my sword as well.
Okay. Let me change this real quick. You will now emit light, and
And is
Yes.
and Ben Arbor, is that what I saw? Is that going towards the hallway? Correct.
yep.
Okay.
Okay. So you pick up the candle, and you're you should be able to, see by it as you move.
Okay.
So,
Move
all right.
back
You,
out here.
Sure. Go into the hallway. You can see that door opening, and this guy, just looking a little bleary-eyed, but staggers out that direction. And what are you doing?
I mean, can I see what have shown me now?
Yeah,
Or did
you
it
can
go
see
did it go into the latrine?
it's no longer visible. Sorry.
And then their Fazaz's rooms, they were
Kind of over here somewhere.
over here. Okay.
Yep.
After that, I'll tell Belnil, kind of like in a hushed voice, like, there was something crawling on the ceiling. I don't know what I saw, but we gotta go find out. And then as I'm going to do that as I walk and talk and kind of like grab him along.
Yeah.
Hopefully he doesn't ask questions because there's really no time. And then I'll tell him, wake up Shamara, and then come down the hall to where our other companions were.
Okay. Make either a diplomacy or an intimidate check, just to like tell him what to do right away. Either one, depending on kind of how you want to play that energy.
I mean, I don't. Let me see. Do I get anything? No. Yeah, they're both. I mean, I don't get any bonuses or anything, but I'll do intimidate.
Yeah. Okay. No problem. So he. All right. I mean, you say that, and he like glares at you in the dim light of your candle, and his kind of red whiskers bunch up a little bit, as if he's kind of making a sour expression with his mouth. And he, has his, when you say that to him, like, he slowly draws out his short sword, which he was just carrying in, scabbard in hand. So he does that, and he drops the scabbard, which makes a little clatter on the floor. And then he says, "Just knock on a door. I'm going with you." And he kind of falls in as you presumably start to move down the hall.
Okay. I will move down.
Okay.
Knock, knock. Knock,
Sure.
knock.
Hey, Kira.
Hi.
Well
Can I
done,
say-
you. On the role-playing side of it. Thank you. I guess if I were being stricter, I should have told you to maybe mute or deafen or something, but well done.
Everything was fine until he started talking about specifically what he saw. I was like, ah.
Sure. Shamara, you are sleeping pretty well, but of course you're keyed in enough to the situation and any potential danger that you are woken a little bit blearily by hearing the knock knock, wait, knock knock on your door.
And then I'll yell, like, Shamara, hurry. So instead of like just keeping it quiet, or yeah.
All right. My stuff.
With that, I'll keep moving down, and then I'll say, like, as walking, I'll be like, keep your eyes up.
All right.
I've got my mace and shield and pack.
You grab your things real quick and get up. You see Belnil is in the corridor looking a little bit bleary-eyed too, but clearly trying to focus. He's got his short sword in his hand, and he's like walking along behind Orden. You guys, when you say that, I mean, when you just make noise deliberately and kind of loudly, it's in that way of quiet places, it feels kind of like breaking glass or something. It's like you have to make yourself do it and just say, "Hurry up!" And the commotion, when that sound dies down just from you shouting, seems to have gone away. there is um, well, there's some faint sound from like around the corner up ahead, but nothing obvious. And Shamara, you note as well when you come out that the door to the latrine is just hanging ajar, and the simple, like wooden seat with the circle cut into it is the only thing in there. I mean, there's nothing really to the room, and you can see here even kind of beyond the borders of Orden's light. It's just dark, kind of nasty looking latrine in there. But excuse me, the door was definitely not ajar when you went to sleep. So, all right. So, what are you guys doing?
I'm gonna keep making my way.
Okay, go for it. Shamara, what are you doing?
Oh, jeez. I shut that door.
Okay. Alright,
Um,
fair enough.
And then do I?
is that
So do I
door
hear?
open or closed at the end of the hallway?
That's closed.
Okay.
Sorry,
I'll make-
Branch.
I'll make my way to the middle of the hallway, and then do I hear anything coming from these rooms right here?
You don't, but make a perception check, because you see a couple of things, as you probably can tell on the map.
Push past Belneil.
Alright, so as you guys come around the corner, you see a couple of things, just obviously. First of all, the door to the common room there is hanging open, like fully open. And you can see through it, in the room, lit by what must be still a good-sized fire in the fireplace. There is a familiar and an unfamiliar figure just visible through the doorway to both of you, even though it's outside the range of that candle that Orden is carrying. The door to whoever's room it was, first one here on your left now as you come back through, whether that was Vazaz or Engrog, you don't really know, but it was one of theirs. That door is hanging ajar, and Vazaz himself, in his what looks like kind of the same pants, but just like a simple white undershirt that's stained a little bit, presumably just from travel around the neck and armpits, is in a position of some disarray. He is in the common room, kind of on the far side of that one table. His gray-white eyes are wide with fear, bordering perhaps on panic, and his rapier that he was wearing before is nowhere to be seen. There is a woman behind him. She is immediately familiar to the both of you as someone you saw behind the counter, who welcomed you in just in that moment when you first came in. She has kind of dark skin. She is a little bit heavy set, even, although by the standards of the time, anyone reasonably well fed would be considered heavy set. And her hair is in like thick kind of purple braids that fall around her head and neck and shoulders. She has Vazaz just in some kind of a grip, like holding him under one arm, and then the other one is like around his neck, and she's just holding him this way. What's that?
I'm gonna channel energy.
Okay. Well, so you guys see that, and as you're just coming around the corner, and there's they're not saying anything, but her eyes, which are wide and dark, kind of flick across something that is out of sight, just to the right of the doorway, and then pretty clearly fix on the both of you for a long moment. Her mouth is closed. She seems pretty unconcerned and more or less expressionless, but her eyes are wide and attentive as Vazaz is staying kind of carefully still with one arm held up like this and her other arm just across his chest. So you go ahead, guess what are you doing?
Yeah. I want
Well-
to channel energy.
Barge in,
Okay.
and then before we go in now, I'm not gonna be as quiet like you said, but there was something crawling on the ceiling. I have no fucking idea what it is.
the where are we? Okay. Channeling energy, that's a 30-foot thing, is that right
Yeah,
here?
and I have to choose either heal living or damage undead.
Okay. So,
I believe I have
which
to
one are you
choose
doing?
one or the other.
Let's find out for sure. Good. I
Channel
think it does
energy.
both. Okay. Can choose to deal damage to undead creatures or to heal living creatures. Okay, fair enough. You are correct.
Okay. Um. Well, first I will heal living creatures.
Okay. Go for it. It's a 1d6. Okay. And as I mentioned before the episode, that is your ability, and it certainly comes from your character and your history. So, what does that look like and sound like when you channel energy?
Well, there's the. If you're looking closely at her and one was to get a good perception check or knew what to look for, then they might see like spirits kind of arising from the ground.
Okay.
In her like area of effect.
Okay. All right. So they would be nearly invisible, I suppose, just since you're getting started still. But yeah. Okay. So there's very faint, kind of something that might look a little bit like heat haze or something that comes up out of the ground, and you go ahead and roll for it if you're going to heal everybody in the area.
Let's see.
Nice. Okay. Heal for 5 points of damage. Everyone in that area, and then while she does that, Orden, what are you doing?
So I want to, for the first time, use magic. I've never done it before. So.
Mazel tov.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So,
All right.
So I want to use Force Screen.
Okay.
And so that is an audible spell.
Force screen or force scream?
Force Screen.
Neat. Okay. All right. Force screen. Gotcha. All right. And what do you say or do to manifest that?
Well, I whisper this because I don't want him to hear me because it's like, yeah. But I would say like, I would audible the words "protect me," but whisper it so that no one would be able to like hear. So.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So as Shamara pauses there, and this kind of like wave of heat haze comes up, you step forward, and there's a disc that maybe just like 2 or 3 feet in diameter that appears in front of you, shimmering what color?
Ooh, let's go green.
Green. Shimmering green in front of you. And Vuzaz at that point seems to catch sight of you as you step into the doorway. And what is it? So you guys, as you come up there, might have to roll initiative soon, but so far I'm just going to take it kind of one action back and forth. And
before I get to the, if I ever do get to the point of crossing the door,
mm-hmm.
I'm looking up into like the ceiling or to the right.
Yeah. So let me. Okay. So you as you do that, the lady there, holding Vuzaz, kind of shifts around him a little bit, and then still holding him, very close to her, she just backs away a little bit toward the fire, and you guys see, you hear some footsteps just from the right as, Orden, as you step into the doorway. You don't see anything above you. You do see Engrog over there on the right, and he is like he's not holding his hands out like placatingly, but just like to the side in kind of like a ready fighting position. And the Shamar, what are you doing?
Oh, well, before she saw that knew that Engrog was out there too, I guess she'll like knock on the door twice if this door is closed.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So she'll like rap on it like that
Okay.
wall.
Sure.
And I will move out. I want to be by Orden.
Okay.
I can't seem to move my character.
Okay.
I could move her earlier.
Just insert. Oh, my bad. That's because the game's paused. My
I'll
bad.
move
Go
right
ahead.
behind Orden in the hallway.
You should be able to move now.
And
Sorry,
then-
that was my mistake.
Oh, that's
I
okay.
paused things. Oh, that's.
Actually, yeah, I'll move it. Let's see.
There you go. Okay. So, all right. So you guys step out there into the main common room, and the woman says in a very distinct echo, although not quite the same, of what she said before. She says, "Welcome to the Starlight. Welcome and excuse me." And she looks back at Angrog. She says, "There is no need for unpleasantness or inhospitality." And she's still like gripping Vizaz, whose gray eyes are still wide, and he doesn't seem to really know what to do with himself, and he is trembling a little bit. You can see by his outstretched hand.
Then why do you have this man held?
Jesus. Because.
And it all while advancing as well.
Sure.
So.
Okay. She says, "I am hoping to convince him to accommodate me, and if he does not, perhaps you will in his stead." And she grins, not entirely menacingly, from over Vazaz's shoulder. And at that point, it is very apparent that she has two overlarge canines, which extend down to very sharp points, even more so than mine. So that's yeah. But those are hovering near his neck, kind of with his arm up, like this off to the side. And Vazaz at that point, it's a little bit difficult to hear him, but he's murmuring to her very clearly. He says, "He's not. You do not need to do anything violent, or this is not violence. It's not necessary at all." And Engrog, who is like glancing at you guys,
Us or?
No, he's kind of like looking up as if he's addressing someone behind him. And Engrog starts to kind of circle out on the other side, the hands still extended, moving carefully with his knees bent. And he is also looking at the woman. He says, You have not explained yourself." And he's kind of rotating around as well. And everybody make perception checks real quick.
This is scary.
Okay.
I'm not scared. I'm not scared. I'm not scared.
Yeah. All right. So as she just stops and as you guys are kind of basically spreading out to surround her, she sighs audibly and says, "Go then, go then." And she just lets go of Uzaz, who kind of sags and immediately just scrambles forward toward Engrog and puts himself kind of behind him, leaning against the table and trembling very visibly now. His sweat stains, on his undershirt are clearer and a bit darker, even than they were a few moments ago. And she just stands there and she folds her arms in what looks like irritation as her dark eyes glance just back and forth across all of you. And she waits for a moment. Engrog frowns at her and he says, "You are a vampire?" And she says, "I am not a vampire. I would aspire to be one day, but I am a poor and barely functioning innkeeper in troubled times." What are you guys doing?
I'm gonna spin around towards the hall and basically head towards the noise I heard and yell for Belnil.
At this point, we do need to roll initiative. So let's go. Alright, Foundry. I'm going to try to do this right. Once again, can't say enough about Foundry being a good tool. But I need to get better at navigating it. So, okay. And so go ahead and roll initiative,
Okay.
and let me know when you have it. Damn, couple of these.
Making up for that first session.
Sorry, I was already looking at something. I got it right here. +1.
Okay. Good deal. So let's add these. All right, we should have your character sheets loaded in here, but as we're all getting better at Foundry, I'm just gonna have to update these manually. I have these guys' character sheets loaded in though, so let's do that.
Oh, you can load your character sheet into Foundry so that you can
Yep.
access it.
Our Bonsai character sheets are a little bit different, but since we use Pathfinder as the basis for our system, you could almost certainly do that, and we could talk maybe between sessions about how to do that. Might automate some stuff, but we're learning as we go. We're building our system, and this is part of it. So let's do that. Okay. So, just since I got a couple of things open all together, Orden, what's your initiative? What did that come out to?
Came out to 22.
22. Very good. Okay. And Shamara?
Oh, it was 5.
5. Very good. Well, with the rolls I've got here, that's actually not too bad at all. So, Orden, sorry, just state again, what were you doing? And let me slap a grid on this place so we can all move accurately.
So, I don't think this happened. This happened like during, I don't think this is part of my first move.
Okay.
I would like to argue that point though. So, as soon as I heard that noise, turn around the hall and kind of rush in, not running, but kind of jogging, and then yelling Belnil's name.
Okay. I'll tell you what. I'll compromise with you. Make a reflex save for every 5 points you get on it. You can start this combat 1 square away from where you are right now. Put everybody in the square here. Oops. Shamara, I need to shrink your token. Not because you are smaller, but because you technically only take up 1 square, and in combat, that gets dicey. So.
Did you say every 2 points?
Yeah,
Two?
sorry. Okay, so you just had time to whirl around and start back that way.
Okay.
So you, but it is your turn. So,
Okay.
what are you doing? Yeah, and just to clarify, you have a candle in one hand
Yep.
and your weapon in the other?
That's correct.
Okay, very good. Alright, so what are you doing?
So I want to go down the hallway. Can I, as I go through, can I check and stop my movement? Like if I wanted to move somewhere? Or actually,
I'm okay with that.
I'll just take my 5-foot thing right here. Okay, so that room is clear.
Okay.
So that's my free 5-foot movement.
A 5-foot step is free if you do not take any other move actions in a round.
Okay, then I will move back here.
Okay.
You did get your 5 closer though, right?
Yes, I did. All right, so I'm
You're-
gonna move down the hallway. 15, 20, 30. Actually, I can only go 20 because of my armor. So I'll move down to here.
Okay.
And then I'll just say, Belnil, what is it?
Yeah, so he is kind of at the top of those couple of stairs that go up, and as you come just racing down there, he is just looking grimly at the like down the hallway the way you guys came, and he's just got his sword in one hand, looking grim, and it's kind of out to the side, and he says, "The dead," and you have an action if you want to use it, or you can end your turn there. 3 seconds. What are you doing?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. Shamara, what are you doing?
Oh shit.
Wait, real quick.
What's up?
So, one standard action. So, like, would I be able to? A standard action isn't included as a move action, correct? So,
Correct.
like,
You have one move and one standard.
Okay, then I would. Sorry, then I would like to use, if possible, I would like to use metaphysical weapon.
Okay, I'm gonna be a dick this time because you already said that you ended your turn, and if we play, we get better. So, Shamara, your turn. What are you doing?
I move. And
Okay.
cast. I do my channel energy.
Okay. Which one are you doing this time?
Against undead.
Harm the dead. 30 foot, right?
He's not fighting though right now. He's just like getting ready.
Nope. You can see him. He's not actually struggling against anything, but he's staring grimly down that hallway. So it's a 30-foot effect. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. So I'd say go for it and make your roll.
Okay.
All right. 6 damage. Let's get rid of that. All right. Alright. Alright, so there is a sound. It's very difficult to describe. It comes from down the hallway around the corner, the direction that Belnil is facing. As Shamara comes back in, once again murmuring something, and Orden, you feel like sort of a negative pressure around your feet and knees, and then there's the same kind of heat haze, which you know to watch for, being a relative of Shamara's. There is a sound that is something like a kind of like a grating, screaming cry from a completely desiccated throat, and it's difficult to see what made that sound or what effect it has. But that's fair enough. That's Shamar's turn. They move into standard action, and then see, she's gonna place her there. All right, Belneil is standing there, just grimly, still staring that direction. His expression has not changed at all, and he just puts both hands around the haft of his short sword and waits at the top of those stairs. And all right. And they come up the stairs. Orden, you see a figure just dart, clattering up toward Belneil, just scrambling up the steps. It's dead. It's just bones. An animated skeleton comes with some sort of rabid energy up the steps, swinging its clawed, bony hand, overhand at Belneil. And let's see what happens. Jeez. Okay. And it hits him. Actually tearing down just through his like many layered coats and sweaters, and some blood just wells out over his chest as he grunts, trying belatedly to parry with his sword. The thing moved a little bit too fast. He ends up kind of grinding his sword blade against the thing's forearm as it drags down and scores some claw marks into his chest. And then there are others like pushing up in toward that square, and you can just kind of see them at the edges, but they don't have space to get through. So, Orden, your turn.
Alright, I'm going to take a 5-foot step here. And I'm going to attack right there. Do I have room to attack right there? Correct?
You do have room to attack, and there's no such thing as cover from a melee attack, really. I'm still going to give you a -2 on this, because you're kind of like attacking around the corner and trying not to hit Belneil, I presume. So.
I'm fine if I hit him. It's fine. I'm not taking that -2. No. Alright. Then I will attack. I'm going to...
If you hit him, then
Gonna
you
use-
cleave to.
I'm going to use a power attack as well.
Okay.
So it's a total of +2 to hit.
All right. Go for it. That will get it done. Okay. So with a 20, yeah, you hit him. Roll damage.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. Remind me your weapon.
I have the greatsword.
Great sword. Okay. So yeah, you just come up to the corner, wedging your shoulder against it, and hack down. Both hands all the way down in a big diagonal swing. Connects with basically the jawline of this clattering monstrosity, and cleave right through the clavicle, a couple of ribs, and then hit the spine and dig in and just slam that spine down into the floor. The whole creature just dissociates, clattering back down the stairs in a rattling pile of bones. And yeah, I guess Belneil is expressionless, but we can infer some positive reaction there. All right, you have a move action left, or actually, I don't think you do. If you took a step, so okay, so move and attack. There you go. All right, so you just smash that one apart, breaking it to literal smithereens on the stairs. Shamar, your turn.
I look back. Is this guy like coming at me?
No, I'm sorry, he's facing the wrong way. But Vuzaz is like, he's actually kind of come over like by that table, and he's just like looking down the hallway just to see what the hell's going on, because there's obviously some commotion. But he's stopped where he is. He's just kind of like looking in from the common room over your shoulder.
Okay.
What do you do? 3 seconds.
I
3.
hold my turn.
Okay. Copy. All right. good. All right. Belneal glances at Orden just after that shot, and he gives you kind of a grim nod, and then he takes a step back, like down that hallway a little bit, so that anybody that comes up, will be basically between you two. And he just mutters without really, once he looks back down the hall, he says, "There are 4 more of them." As he says so, they come clattering back up. So you can hear them, just bony footsteps scrambling, scratching on the stairs as they mount just the 3 or 4 that come up there and then races forward. So this skeleton is going to charge Belneal. So Belneal does not get an attack of opportunity against him. Orden, however, does. $15, is that correct? Brother. Alright, so, you're just kind of waiting for him. It's just big you can't go completely overhand because the ceiling isn't quite that tall for that big of a sword, but you can swing up and then just try to drop it and cut this freaking thing in half. But unfortunately, you were just a beat too late. It is exactly the swing you wanted to make, and it hits it kind of glancing off of its, the back of its skull and spine, but it moved a little bit faster than you anticipated, and it just races up there to hurt Belneal, which tries to do. Okay, and as it does, just scrambling into him, Belneal just puts the short sword across his body, with his hand against the flat of the blade, and manages to just kind of fend it off, sort of windshield wipering back and forth just to try to keep its claws off of him, which he does, at least for the moment. There are more behind him, though. This other skeleton steps up. Definitely would provoke an attack of opportunity from you, had you any left. You don't have combat reflexes or anything, do you?
Not yet.
Okay. So this one is, just reaching out greedily with a murderous fervor that belies its passionless face. And what's your AC?
21.
21. 21. Holy smokes, man. Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so, yep, it scrambles forward, just swiping at you, scrambling, trying to push past its compatriot there in front of you. And while the claws reach out, they don't really get that close to you. You can recover from your swing, back up, and just pull your sword into just a high guard. And the thing scrapes at your shoulder a little bit, but it doesn't really do any damage. And you can hear more of them pressing in behind that one. Zaz steps kind of full into the doorway and then across to the other side, just clearly trying to see down the hallway to whatever the hell's going on. And then, Orden, it's your turn.
Alright, I'll take a swing at this front guy, and then before doing that, I'll just turn back and kind of yell, "We've got undead down here, 4 of them!"
Was that the top of the turn? So if I
Yes.
don't insert, then I lose my turn? Okay.
So you could jump in now if you wanted to.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I will walk in 2
Okay.
more squares and then channel energy again.
Okay. I damage undead, I presume.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
It's crazy there's not an attack roll. Just straight up 4 damage.
Yeah. Let's pull that up again. I believe that is the case, and it's magic, and it's not subject to DR or any of that stuff. I mean, you're pretty good against, these kinds of creatures, right? Doesn't work on everybody, but the ones it does work on, it's yeah. +1 42. Oh, never mind. They do get a will save
DC
to
of
have the
save
damage.
is equal to 10 plus half the cleric's level plus the character's charisma modifier.
Yep. So, what is your since your level is 1, I presume.
DC is
What's your
13.
charisma? 13. Very good. So 4 of them, and
Does half round up for half my cleric level?
oh, it always rounds down. I'm sorry to say. Okay. So 4 damage, except for anyone who saves. Excuse me, takes 2. So, all right. So there's another just kind of susurrus of energy coming up from the ground, Orden, and the skeletons just waver. One of their waverings just escalates, I guess you might say, to the point where the knees wobble and the hips wobble and the whole thing just kind of clatters, dissociating to the ground. And several of the others seem like of the ones you can see, I guess, they all are clearly like rocked back, as if struck by some kind of metaphysical wave. But there are 2 even that are visible to you that press on despite that. And then it is Orden's turn.
I'm gonna swing at this first one, but I'm not gonna do a power attack. I'm just doing a regular. So.
Yep.
Oh no.
Alright, roll again.
Oh no.
Highest to highs and the lowest to lows.
That's right, man.
Nothing in between.
Ride that roller coaster. Up and down.
Oh shit! I missed. That'll be my voice. I'm not gonna take a move.
Oh, hang on. You gotta roll again. The 1 is
Oh,
a potential
okay.
critical miss.
Yikes. There's no way, right? And do I roll with the same, or I just roll a d20, correct?
Yep. It's just another attack roll. You get your bonus. Okay. So it is a normal miss. Just to, you don't accidentally, chop Shamara's ears off or something.
Hey.
Yeah, get careful on that wind
I
up.
love you, bro, but I have limits.
I know. And yeah, that's it. No 5. Yeah, no
Okay.
movement.
Just staying where you are. All right, so Orden swings, trying clearly to modulate that as opposed to just the big heavy overhand swing. He waits and then tries for a thrust that almost overbalances him. Doesn't quite, but still scores the far wall over here with just a big scratch and the. Where are we? Okay, but you push off of the wall, manage to regain your balance before you go tumbling forward toward those stairs. And Shamara, it is your turn again.
Okay. Well, I do it again.
Yeah.
6
Okay.
damage, unless.
And it's DC 13,
Yeah.
correct? Okay. Okay. So yeah, Shamara, I mean, you step forward again, and just with from the outside, you yourself don't look that different, but as you press forward just with some intensity, focusing on an indefinite point in front of you, you exhale firmly, and I guess for anyone looking, the cords kind of stand out in your neck, your muscles tense. Orden and Belniel are not in a position to observe that the first, second, or third time that it happens, but they are in a position to observe not just the first time that these creatures wobble, but then the second time that they, with sort of a cry this time that is only faintly audible, but just the rasp of a completely desiccated and absent throat, that something that remembers once speaking and has no more ability to do so. There is a cry of dismay and despair as the other 2 just clatter to the ground with a rattle of hateful bones.
When she does use it to damage the undead, it is like a hateful and furious cry, where when she's using it to heal people, it's more of a like tenacious like war cry.
All right. So there's a long pause at just the sudden dissociation of these creatures in front of you, and Orden and Belneil are, just breathing heavily, adrenaline still high, like weapons raised. Belneil still has his sword, like across his body, just ready to defend against an enemy that's now no longer there. And Orden, I mean, you and Belneil share a look, kind of indefinable, just in the flickering light of your candle, which has almost gone out a couple of times.
I'll say, come by the fire. And then as we're walking up to Shamara, be like, sis, you know I could have handled that.
Yeah, fair enough. I hate them.
So you guys are walking back into the common room there?
Hopefully we won't need it again tonight, she says while glaring at this lady.
Well, we need to go talk to her now. Who knows what the hell she was trying to do.
Yeah.
And I'll look behind me, make sure that Belneil is following as well.
Okay. He is not. You can hear his footsteps going back down that hallway toward your rooms and the latrine there. And you kind of stop in the doorway to the common room. You look back for him. He's not there. And then after just a couple of moments, you hear his heavy, barefoot footsteps coming back down the hallway. And he comes back into view, just looming up out of the gloom. And his dark eyes just kind of squint a little bit, again at your light, as he walks up to follow you just a few moments behind.
Yeah, and then I'm walking to the room.
Is she
Yep.
threatening him?
Threatening whom?
Engrog? Right now?
No. So when you guys come back into the common room, Orden, it's like you've just, like, from standing still, it's like you just suddenly sprinted 50 meters. Like, you're not really sweaty, but your skin is like prickling, and you're like starting to sweat like belatedly, after the fact. Your heartbeat's still very much going a mile a minute, and Belneil too is not. I mean, his face is expressionless, but you can see like his nostrils kind of flaring and tightening up as he's breathing heavily and obviously making an effort not to show it. Everybody files a little bit confused, and well, I guess up to you as to how frightened anyone is. But you file back into the common room there, where Engrog is actually standing right in front of the fire and having what looks like a quiet conversation with this woman who was just arguably holding hostage his companion. Vizaz, for his part, is kind of steps back as you guys come into the room. He gives you a little bit of a wide berth, just glancing between all of you, his eyes still wide and nearly panicked as he just sweeps across each of you. I'm going to end the combat here and take the grid off so that everybody can move freely. Also, let's put Shamara back to her normal size. And yes, sorry again about that. It's just that you are big, but technically you only take up 1 square. So in combat, we got to do that. All right. So, guys, you guys all kind of file back into the room. I'm looking around. Vuzaz, he's... What sent those? What was this? What was this? And he gestures with both hands towards Shamara, who he seems to understand has had some kind of magical effect on whatever happened back there.
As I push into the room, I want to kind of like not growl, but like grumble, like a low, like just glare at him, and then glare across at them, and make an intimidate check.
So, Vuzas? Okay, go for it.
And I also wanted to make a sense motive check.
Thought I heard something, but it was only one of my 2 cats, Virginia. Quick interlude. She's adorable, and she's purring. So,
Cute.
I wanted to throw that out there. But yes, intimidate check.
Okay. 6. 1.
Okay. Alright. So yeah, you don't really say anything, but just look at him, kind of growl deep in your throat, and walk past him. And he goes from kind of looking for an answer from "what was that" to just he kind of like turns 45 degrees from you, smooths down his undershirt as if it were the suit he were wearing earlier in the evening, and looks affronted, but certainly doesn't say anything. Orden, you and Belneil, step into the common room, looking around, both breathing heavily. And, okay. You just walk past Vuzaz without comment?
I do.
Okay. Both of you guys.
Just kind of like, as I walk by, just kind of like shrug. Like, not ignore him, but just be like, what do you want me to say? You know?
That's funny. What was that? What was that? And then like one of you just growls at him, and he kind of takes a step back, and then like looks at Orden, and Orden's like, just passing him by. Whatever, dude. Okay. Belneil, follows Shamara a little bit, and he goes around just kind of to the end of that table, and he looks at Engrog and the dark-skinned woman with the braids, and as you guys like file into the room, the two of them have gone quiet for a moment, and then Engrog looks back at her, and he gives her kind of a considering look, and then a brief nod, and then they both turn to face you guys, spreading out a little bit. What's that?
What's that? And I just jerk my head towards them. It's like, do you guys know each other, or?
We do not know each other. We have met this night, and she has proposed a bargain, which seems to me understandable. Perhaps just. And he kind of looks to the side, and she doesn't look at him, but her dark eyes scan you, all three of you, and they linger for a moment on Belneil, who has still blood dripping down one side of his torso. And,
He took his healing, though, right?
Did he get healing? I thought you were just damaging.
The first time I did healing for everybody, and did 5 points of healing.
The first time you did, yes. That's a very fair point. But right. I just mean the recent wound. But yes, from anything he sustained earlier. Yeah. Worth pointing out. Okay. So you guys just kind of filter in, and what are you just like walking up, standing nearby? What are you doing?
Just got my fist on the table.
Yeah, and I'll walk up, and then kind of like reach up and put my hand on Shamar's shoulder, kind of like pat her, and then I guess I'll ask, be like, Can you tell me why there's undead in this place that you host?
Yeah. The woman waves her hand, just kind of dismissively. And she says, "There is always a certain element of uncertainty. They come up from the depths. Like bugs, like roaches once did. They are a nuisance. They were no trouble to you, clear. And Belneal kind of glances down at his, the blood that's still soaking into his layered coats and sweaters. And well, there was some trouble. They certainly meant to be more. And he, with kind of a groan of wood on wood, he drags that bench on that side a little bit over to him, and he sits down on the end of it. He looks around for his sheath for his short sword, which he dropped near his bedroom door. So he just puts it on the table to the side, and he takes off kind of the outermost layer of his coats. And he says, "My name is Belneal." And he makes kind of an obvious, this is what people do gesture toward her. And the woman in front of him, she says, "I am Tiri. Tiri Zamij." Make her step visible. So hopefully if you see her token, that'll become clear. "I am the proprietress of the Starlight these last 10 years. I have bid you welcome already." Aye.
You would have your guests dead in the hallway.
She looks at you, kind of expressionlessly, and Belneal says, "Aye, some manner of hospitality." He's, kind of looking at the wounds on his shoulder.
Take out some coin, I don't know, 5 silver and 3 copper, just a random, a fistful of my silver and copper, and just put it on the table. Okay, well,
yeah.
Thanks for the rooms and the beer for the night.
Yeah. There's a pause.
We would have paid you up front if you'd stuck around.
She stares at you blankly for another couple of long moments. In the silence, everyone can hear the sound of the storm still very much raging outside.
I guess you'd rather have my entire coin purse than just a few of my coins.
"You are unjust," she says, drawing herself up a little bit, raising her chin slightly.
What's the agreement?
"There is no agreement. There is an offer. In times past, you could not pay with wooden shingles. You could not earn your keep at an inn by trading in boot leather. Not all currencies are the same, and not all currencies are accepted. There is a new currency, which is requested," and she looks at Angrog, and then back at Shamara, says, "not demanded." And their face shifts kind of indefinably, and her kind of pronounced upper canines become visible a little bit. She doesn't grin, but her lips draw back a little bit. She says, "And that is blood." Luzaz, meanwhile, kind of saunters over, but he sits down on a bench off to the side where he was, but very lightly, held in kind of a half Nelson thing. And he, as he sits down, he says, "You have a unfortunate time to approach someone asking for something so intimate." And she glances at him a little bit coldly. I am a creature of the night. I approach you at night. You... And he just kind of makes a tired sound and throws his hand up. Uh, you approach and there are the monsters and the dead and the skeleton coming through the hallway, and if I had been on the latrine just now, what? I have my guts ripped out? This way? And he makes a gesture kind of toward his nether regions, and Engrog actually makes a kind of a placating gesture toward him, and he's...
I probably left my mug on the table here. I'm just gonna like scoop it up and walk over to the.
Okay. Yeah, go refill.
Yeah.
um,
Grab
right.
Arden's too.
Yeah. Oh, nice. All right. No. That Engrog, yeah, makes kind of a placating gesture. He says, "We have come to an arrangement. I will pay," and he says, looking at Tiri. "And I will pay for all of tonight, and be recompensed as well." And Tiri looks at him almost earnestly, and she nods with a definite note of respect.
Recompensed.
"It is my blood. It's expensive." And Tiri is still looking at him, and says, "I have but asked. I would have come to you, asked and offered as well. But it is not necessary. There was not time. My offer has been accepted." And she kind of nods to Angrog, and says, "You may return to your room if you would like. When I go back to the below," she says, like kind of carefully, it sounds like choosing her words, "there will be a protection. No other nuisance will come up through the latrine." Elniel is sitting there. He's got like one elbow on the table, having stripped off a couple of layers. He's still bleeding, but it's just a trickle now. And he says, "Sorry. So there's more to that latrine. I mean, when you shit, it goes somewhere." And she looks at him blankly, and she says, "It is a path of great depth. Yes, there is a pit dug for your excretions, but there is much beyond that." He says, "Oh, how big a path?" And she shakes her head, looking at him sternly, and says, "A path that you do not wish to tread. A path of deep and dark places." "And what do you think I know of deep and dark places? You think I'm a stranger to them?" And she shrugs, still meeting his gaze. "It was accidental that the Starlight was built upon a proximity to such passages. But now, it is irrevocably joined to them. How far do they go? There is a great network. How far do they go?" And she just shakes her head. "There are perhaps none who know." "Do they go to Hartos?" And she kind of frowns. But the city of And she spreads her hands as if like partially confused, partially uninterested, and says, surely this far and much beyond. But there is no way to navigate them. There are no landmarks, there are no directions. You could not tell north from south. You could not tell north from south. Fine, creature of the dark. That you may be. But by the standards of my people, you're but lately come. She kind of starts to glare at him a little bit. He says, to the dark? And he shakes his head and says, to the deep. And she kind of like rolls her eyes almost, and looks over at Angrog and says, I will await your pleasure. And he nods and says, I will go to prepare. And with just a glance around at all of you guys and kind of a nod to Vuzaz and a like sort of don't worry about it gesture, he gathers his stocky frame and walks over to the still open door to the hallway and goes through it, closing it behind him. Alright. Fury glances at Belneil expressionlessly, and then she turns and walks toward the door, just leaning there a little bit, and she puts a hand against it and closes her eyes as if, you know, a little meditatively. Alright, so there was a bit of a pause. We'll just coming back. Post fast forward. Coming back. So Tiri walked over and put her hand against the door and seemed kind of meditative for a moment. Belneil just like watched her walk over there and then turned and puts his other leg over the bench on that side of the table and just turns, with his back to the fire there to look at Shamara and Orden. Vuzaz gets up and kind of distractedly hustles over, opens the door to the hallway where Angrog went and closes it behind him. You can hear him, going into another room there. Belneil just looks at you guys, his red whiskers and beard kind of rumpling as he works his jaw, his bald head glinting in the firelight.
So, you'd like to climb down the shitter and go to Hytos?
That does not sound like a good plan.
Yeah. So he kind of looks at the table, like just kind of cocking his head side to side equivocally. He says, I'm not sure that our best path isn't overland. And he looks between the two of you. He says, assuming that is that you still want to help me. Because it's important. I know it's important. But surely it'd be faster. It'd be faster to go straight there. Of course. But
We at least need to sleep first.
right, yeah. But isn't it just possible that if there was a path to some deeper place, and I can see it, I can see you thinking I'm biased, and I might be, but if we could make the same journey, even a bit slower, but the same journey away from the gaze of the Archon, out of easy access to all of them. I understand it's you trade for the dead, but well, it seems no trouble to you, Shamara. Blow them away like a strong wind.
Those little
I kept.
ones.
Well, they can't be much bigger than that, can they?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they can. So, you don't want the silver.
Was that to Tiri or
Yeah.
to Belmia? Okay. She kind of opens her eyes and looks back at you, and she says, "That's as good as boot leather would have been 5 years ago. Take it with you. I have been paid." And she goes back to resting her hand against the door and feeling for whatever she's feeling for.
What did I do with my tablet? Sorry. Okay.
Well, you're not asking for a bit longer if we go underground. It'll triple or quadruple our time. It's a path we've never been for. We've never been on it. I know you're an expert at the underground. I know what you have is important. We barely know you. I can't see underground. What am I supposed to do? Hug you as I follow you?
Well, as long as you hold tight, I'll see you there. Also, surely there's ways of finding some light. I mean, we could ask those two. They said they've got some simple magics. Well, light, as I understand it, is one of the simplest magics there is. Surely we could find our way. And wouldn't we be safer? I'm telling you, mate, it was fields of them. With the mismatched legs. The strange spines shooting out the middle of them, and the skulls atop. Rattling madly. I saw them from a ridge. And if they overtake us on open land, and of course, perhaps it's a devil you know. Perhaps. But if we take a slower route, other than your sight, we've some advantages below. Or I think so, anyway. Now, you're offering to help, so I'll not gainsay you. If you say we go overland, we go overland. I'm not even sure that that's the worst idea. But I'm a man of the deep places. I'm more comfortable there.
I understand. I'm not the one you need to convince, though. It's Shemai here. If she agrees to go, I've really got no choice, do I? I trust you enough. It's not you.
Either way, we fight hordes of enemies. Those
What do you think,
better at
sis?
fighting.
What do you think, sister?
Well, I think it makes more sense to cross overland if this dust storm recedes. He says it's important for him to get there. He says he's being followed by these things.
It is, and I am.
And truth be told, I'd rather not stay in this place. We have to give you blood for protection. Can't believe I'm almost wanting to go underground.
We'll see what happens in the morning. We'll see if they have a solution for our site. She nods towards Orden.
Sounds good to me.
Hold my tankard up to Belneo. You want some?
And he starts to kind of make a gesture like that. Well, and he glances toward the closed door toward the room. He says, "If it's being paid for already," and he goes to
Oh,
take a swig.
get up faster than he does with his tankard.
Y'all get up and then, as kind of like head back, but then yell out for Tiri.
Yeah.
Tiri.
She turns, looking at you with her dark eyes, sparkling out from her purplish braids.
This tunnel system. Is there any way down besides the shitter?
She kind of narrows her eyes. There are myriad ways down, but neither you nor I know of any others. I smell many times more acutely than you do. You can pass if you desire to.
Nod. Well, I'm going to get it in my straw bed because it's going to be the last thing that's going to be nice to me. Yeah, and then kind of just
Finish your beer. Head to bed.
yeah, I'll like half finish it, just be like whatever. Not gonna drink the whole thing. Set it down and just be like, I'm done. I'm done. So
Okay. Excellent. I have an intruder here.
Kitty.
Use you. That's indecent. Sir. Alright. So, Orden, you're stalking back to bed?
Yep.
Okay. Shamar?
Yeah. How hurt are you, Belneo?
Oh. I think altogether... Glances at his bloody shoulder, but then at the rest of him, he says, less so than I was. That's some trick.
It's my connection.
What? If I may ask.
Glare at Terry. And it's like, to the balance. Undead, they're not natural. It's not supposed to be like that. Their energy's supposed to be reclaimed by the ground underneath them. They're not supposed to just keep on living.
You showed him what for? That was well done. And Odin knows the business of that sword, I suppose. I even managed to hold the candle at the same time.
We got this far being survivors, and I don't think going down there is how we do that.
Perhaps you're right. You're more help than I've had in this stage along the way. If you say we go over land when the storm clears, then we go over land.
We'll see you in the morning.
Indeed. In the morning. And he, if you're standing up, he stands up too. And he kind of turns. Mistress? And he gives her like a pointed, not quite sarcastic nod. And then he, follows you if you're going back to your room.
Yeah.
Cool.
Leave the coins on the table.
All right. Hey, Ranch. Wonder if we could yell at him. He looked the moment I said that. That was incredible.
Hi.
Dude, did I yell loud enough for you to hear me from California?
Sorry.
Yeah, that was amazing. It was like the moment I said, "Hey, Ranch," you just looked back at the screen. It was like
saw the
right there. It's perfect.
Sweet.
Another quick side note: my cats are more adorable even than they were before. What are you gonna do about it? Fight me. All right. So you were going. Well, Orden, you were going to bed. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Shamara as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I attack Tiri.
Alright. Charge. Alright. Belneil follows you out of there. Close the door behind him. So you guys hear the very quiet and somewhat muffled sound of voices from inside the room on your right with the door still closed. But Belneil goes back into the room he was in before, across the hall from Orden. And you guys just bedding down?
Yeah.
Yeah, before, well, like, I'll leave my door open, and then once I see
go
Shamar
in his
come up.
doorway.
Okay.
Oh, find out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Try to rest, try to relax. I'll go wherever you go. You just say the word.
We'll be closer to knowing what's right in the morning. This went from weird to weirder and bad to worse.
Trying to think that storm was a bad premonition.
I thought that was going to be the worst thing that happened to us.
I kind of miss it, to be honest.
Maybe we should just get back on the road. We'll see in the morning.
All right, Shamar. And then, as she goes, like, do our, I guess, like, goodnight thing, where put my head down.
Yeah. Okay.
For that.
All right. Do the
On
class.
bed.
Yeah. All right. Good deal. All right.
Then I cannonball into my bed.
Excellent. All right.
Fuck it though. I grabbed my pack.
I'm not sleeping next to that goddamn latrine. That's funny. All right. Very good. Okay. Perfect. Well, cool. So let me roll something real quick just to confirm.
Well, I have my pack, but I guess my bedroll is still in there. Oh man.
Hey. Okay. You passed the night. And I would say let's pause there. Say that's a good episode.